Planting a vegetable garden can be a really huge job, depending on the amount of area you plan on using. But it can also be one of the most satisfying experiences you'll ever have. It takes time, patience, and a lot of hard work, but in the end, you'll have the reward of fresh, delicious, healthy vegetables that you grew all on your own. Today, I want to take you through the steps of planting a basic vegetable garden. I'll start by showing you how to get your soil ready and your rows marked off. Then we'll take a look at all the vegetables we're planting today and go over their care and harvest. So get out your tillers and rakes and let's start planting a vegetable garden on today's How Does Your Garden Grow? My husband and I feel so blessed to live where we do. We have this huge area for planting, and we feel connected to the previous owners who lived here for so many years, and they always had a huge vegetable garden. Now back then, that's how most people fed their families, instead of popping into the grocery store all the time. Well, even though I can go to the grocery store, I still prefer growing my own fresh vegetables. They're healthier, they're less expensive, and it gives me a sense of pride knowing that I grew them. So if you're ready to start your vegetable garden, then today's show is for you. The first step in planting your garden is to decide where in your yard is the best spot. You have to have an area that gets at least 6 to 8 hours of sunlight every day. Then you need to decide how far away it is from your water source, because vegetables need lots of water, especially in our hot southern climates. If you can, install a soaker hose system, which will give you the optimum water supply. But if you're close to your water spigot, then running a hose and watering it yourself will be fine too. Another key factor is how far away from your house will you be. Once you start harvesting those vegetables, you don't want to have to walk a huge distance carrying all of your produce. Once you've determined where, then it's time to figure out what you're going to plant. So let's go take a look at some of the things we're planting. Now, a very important thing to remember is that everything we're planting today is part of our warm season crop. You want to make sure that you plant all of these things after all the danger of frost has passed. For today, I'm going to start with beans, tomatoes, peppers, and some accompanying plants like marigolds and basil. Marigolds are a great pest deterrent to put with your vegetables and herbs. They do a great job at helping to keep those pesky little insects that aren't good for your crops far away. I'm also planting some basil with the tomatoes because 1, it's my favorite herb, and 2, it grows great with tomatoes. I also have some basic garden fertilizer, also known as 10-10-10. These numbers refer to the NPK ratio of nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Now, something else to remember is that some vegetables grow better when placed alongside of each other. They complement one another and feed off of each other's nutrients, like carrots and tomatoes. They love each other, or corn and squash. Now, the opposite is true for some other vegetables that do not grow well together at all, like beans next to onions or potatoes next to cucumbers. So if you're ready, let's get to digging and planting our vegetable garden. Now, we've tilled up a space about 30 feet by 30 feet. Again, plan out what it is you want to plant and make sure you have enough space for rows and for spacing your seeds. Remember, all of this information is located on the backs of your seed packs. If you have a large area to plant, you're going to want to invest in a tiller. These wonderful gas-powered tools make digging up that hard grass-covered surface a lot easier. You could also ask a friend who has a tractor to help you out. But if you have a tiller, it makes it easier to come back in and keep your rows clean from weeds, and you'll have better access to your plants. Be sure and go over your ground several times in order to work out as many weeds and grass that you can. You might even have to rake a few up. But warning, this is the real back-breaking work, so till as many times as you can. Once you have your ground all tilled, it's time to apply some compost to your soil. Spread around a generous amount and work it into the soil. You can even run your tiller over it again and work it deeper down, or simply use a sturdy garden rake. This addition is going to be a great help in growing big, delicious vegetables. Once you have your soil prepared, it's time to start laying out your rows. You'll need some wooden stakes, a hammer, a measuring tape, some sturdy twine, and a cutting tool. Start by measuring the distance between your rows. Again, refer to your seed packets. Hammer in a stake, measure the distance, and move on to the next. Once you have one side completed, simply do the same on the other side. Try to line up your rows as evenly as possible. Once you have your stakes in the ground, it's time to tie your string and make your guideline. Simply tie the string to one end about 6 inches above the ground. Then carefully bring it over to the other post on the opposite side and tie it off securely. Now you have some sense of your rows, and this will make a wonderful guideline when planting your seeds. You can also write the names of your vegetables right on your stakes to help you remember what you planted in that row. If you're new to gardening, this will really help until your vegetables begin to form.
Well, our rows are marked off, but we have a lot more to do, so stay with us on today's How Does Your Garden Grow?